the microphone over there. Gentleman in first row.
Madame Mogherini, President Donald Trump will soon release his new peace plan for the Middle East. What are your expectations for Mr. Trump's peace plan? And second, what kind of role do you see Norway play in this process?
First of all, let me say that the role that Norway plays is extremely important, and I'm particularly grateful to Ine for the excellent cooperation we have established all over these months. Well, we knew each other before as she was working on defense, but in particular in these difficult months, we've managed to coordinate all along the way and trying to use, as she mentioned, the capacity we have to facilitate parties and partners to sit around the same table and engage in dialogue. Norway has a specific role that comes from its role as a chair of the Hoc Liaison Committee and has, I would say, an historic and symbolic role that is linked to the Oslo Accord that are and continue to be the basis for our engagement, our collective international engagement. So I would say that Norway has the international standing and legitimacy to contribute to this effort that cannot be but an international common effort to build the conditions for the parties to negotiate finally an agreement. The parties need to be engaged, the regional players need to support and help and accompany. The international players through the quartet need to come together and provide this space and these incentives, because we know that aspirations and concerns on both parties' sides require the international and the regional players to accompany any step that can be taken. So I would like to thank Ine personally and Norway for an outstanding role and leadership, and counting on this to continue to help the parties and international players to do their utmost to get to a final and positive solution. The United States plan, we'll wait and see. We don't have, for the moment, details or even a time framework. And as Ines said, this is a difficult moment. For us, what counts is first and foremost that everybody recognizes that the United States are essential for any process to realistically have a chance to succeed, but also for our friends in the United States to understand that alone it would be more difficult to achieve anything. So if I can put it in a headline, which is something that facilitates your work, nothing without the United States, nothing with the United States alone. This is why we are convening this framework that could be an element of facilitation for restoring some trust and level of confidence among different players. The European Union, and I've stressed this several times to the disappointment of some, is not aiming at substituting anyone. We're simply aiming at playing our role at full as financial supporters and contributors, not only to the Palestinian Authority and to UNRWA, but also as the main trade partner for Israel, and as a political player in the Middle East and in this conflict in particular, through the quartet and through our excellent relation with not only Norway, but also the Arab partners we have. And I'm glad to announce that I discussed with the Jordanian and the Egyptian foreign minister today and yesterday. We will invite the foreign ministers of the 6 Arab countries that are in the follow-on committee of the Arab League on this issue to come to Brussels, possibly already next month, to meet all the 28 foreign ministers of the member states of the European Union to continue this work. In terms of content, any plan that has a possibility to become a realistic roadmap out of experience cannot but be based on the Oslo Accords and the two-states perspective. No alternative seemed to meet the aspirations and the needs, including the security needs of Israel, than the perspective of the two states.
Magdi.
Thank you very much. I'm Magdi Youssef from the Egyptian television. My first question is for the Norway Foreign Affairs. I'm just wondering, the Palestinian population are almost losing the hope of any peace process. How are you going to give them back the hope for a solution, a peace solution, a two-state solution? And secondly, if I understand correctly, it's obviously clear that you are insisting that the US need to be the main player in the peace process, while the Palestinians are insisting now, after the moving the embassy, the decision of moving the embassy, that the American cannot anymore play the main role. How are you going to find a solution for this new conflict? And are you planning to put the Palestinian and the Israeli face-to-face today? Thank you.
There were many questions in one question, but I'll start with your first question. And one of the reasons that we are convening this meeting is not to lose hope, because there is no alternative aside from a negotiated two-state solution. And all the things that we are doing right now, all the talks that we have, my journey to the region 2 weeks ago was aimed at one thing, and that is to make sure that we get the process back on track. But in order to manage to get the process back on track right now, especially in this difficult time, we have to start building some trust. We need to have the parties, all the stakeholders around the table. And we also, as Federica mentioned, needs to build confidence in the parties. And the one way and the one thing that we can do in order to achieve that is to have the parties meet. And that is because we don't want to lose hope. I don't think the parties want to lose hope. And what I've seen so far during my visit, during my meetings for the past week and also today with the parties and other important stakeholders, is that there is a genuine will to sit down around the table and to start building trust, start talking about the political issues, the practical issues, and that is our aim today.
And to answer your question about the parties, for sure, today the Palestinians and the Israelis will be sitting at the same table, as well as our American friends will, and the other players and partners that are here. In particular, I would like to thank our friends from the Arab countries that are here at ministerial level, showing interest, common purpose, and I think commitment to try and help, as Ina said.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid we'll have to conclude at this point, but please note that the Norwegian Foreign Minister will do a short readout of the meeting at around 2 o'clock just outside of the meeting room. Thank you very much.